I have applied to some jobs, and this is how it feels. I've gotten rejected from these jobs, friends. Hello, friends. Hope everyone is having a wonderful day. I'm starting a new experiment. Over the last many years of doing Agile training, certified Scrum Master, certified Product Owner, Agile for leadership and development and all that fun stuff, I have helped many people find opportunities in jobs within clients. But as of recent, I've been receiving a lot more feedback in terms of it's hard to get a job as a Scrum Master or an Agile coach or a product owner out there. And so I wanted to run my own experiments and start applying to some of these jobs, which is kind of a fun idea for me, actually, because I haven't applied to a corporate job for over 20 years. So I'm curious about the process. And so I have some ideas written down here in terms of applying for jobs, collecting the data around feedback and understanding how recruiters are doing it these days, since I haven't applied for a job and sat down in an interview, and I don't know what it's like. Now, fair enough, I sit down a lot with clients and discuss the problems and how we can come and help and all this stuff, and sit down every week and every day with startups and entrepreneurs. But being interviewed for a full-time FTE type of job is something I haven't experienced. So I want to understand the landscape. I'm going to be applying to Scrum Master jobs, Product Owner jobs, and Agile Coach jobs. I don't know how many jobs I'm going to be applying to. I don't know how long I'm going to be trying this experiment for, but I'm going to start doing it kind of as a trickle experiment just to see if I get even some responses. So I was talking with another Agile coach about this, and he said, and we were discussing this, and he wrote back to me some of the feedback that I was giving him from my students and my clients and my network. And he said this. He said, yes, I've gotten similar feedback as well. I need more data and still trying to quantify it. In an effort to understand more, he's done a couple of things to understand the job experience and conversations and the feedback that he's gotten. He says most times people get ghosted if they're applying for jobs and not receiving calls from interviewers, as well as job seekers get frustrated with the amount of time to go through the process. A few other points to consider, so I really appreciate his feedback here. A resume is not good enough to pass ATS. A volume of Agile jobs is lower compared to previous years. Companies are shifting away from Agile. That's a new nuance. In my experience, it seems like more companies are moving towards Agile, especially since lockdown. Job seekers don't realize they are in the sales season of their journey, which means they need to sell themselves. This is something that I tell Scrum Masters and students all the time. You got to sell yourself. And job seekers don't know what it means to promote themselves. More marketing, these types of things. AI is changing the way we work. And is there even a market for Scrum Master or Agile coaching jobs? Most of the feedback he gets is that it's hard. And he says hard is a relative consideration depending on their level of persistence. He said this problem is much bigger than his team or he can solve, and he's glad that I'm also looking into this. So this is something curious to me. I'm really curious about the Agile market, the Scrum Master job market, the Product Owner job market, and Product Development job market. And so I'm going to be running some experiments from now to the end of the year, applying to jobs and seeing what it's all about. It takes a little bit of time to apply for jobs, as I went to a website earlier today and I was like, holy cow, they're asking for everything in your left kidney too, in terms of details. So I think what I'll need to do is put together kind of a framework of my resume, and so that I can copy and paste that stuff into these jobs. I don't know if that's going to actually hinder or help if I copy paste stuff, but I'm sure customizing my applications for the job will probably avail me more, but who knows? I think I just want to experience it, and so we're going to start this experiment. It is Wednesday, September 4th at 10:30 a.m. in the morning, and I'll keep updating this kind of video thread as we go through it. So it is Thursday, September 5th, 2024, and I just spent 21 minutes finishing my Indeed Indeed.com profile. Now, I'm not going to scroll up because it has all my personal information in it. But so when you go into this Indeed resume, you can build it out. And so I've done a couple of things here that are probably that I'm sure are not standard. But what I'm actually curious about is whether this will actually, if I apply through Indeed for these Agile and Scrum jobs, I just don't know. I mean, I don't have a normal resume. Now, could I create a normal resume in normal resume format? For sure. Bullet points, and I built this, I've built this, I've done this, I've helped this company. But the problem is I'm all over the place. Now, have I been doing Agile and Scrum coaching and consulting for 20 years? Yes. That is my experience. Now, I've done a lot underneath that. And so it's a little odd, but I'm willing to try it out. But anyway, I've taken 21 minutes to build out my first Indeed.com resume. And so I got all these degrees and I got all these skills that I filled out. Definitely not waterfall. I mean, I could do waterfall. Sure do. I'm a Scrum Master. I'm a Scrum Trainer. PMP used to be one of those, right? I don't add more selections. Ooh. I guess I should fill some of these out. So I guess I have a little bit more to do, but this is like my first foray into applying for like normal corporate jobs and roles. Kind of fun. I am applying to my first job through Indeed.com. I'm doing it. I'm submitting my application. Look at this. Cool. I'm excited. I know that most people have to do this over and over and over and over, like hundreds of times to get a job. And I know that sending off one job application I'm probably going to get ghosted or not even hear back. So I don't expect much here, but this is a new experience for me. I've never applied through Indeed.com before. So for me, as someone who loves science and loves experiments, this was fun. Friends, I have applied to some jobs, and this is how it feels. I've gotten rejected from these jobs, friends. Here's the first one. Hi, Peter. Thank you for your interest in Calendly and applying to Senior Manager, PMO, R&D, Strategic Operations position. After reviewing your experience and qualifications, we've decided to move forward with other candidates that more closely align with our needs. Here's another one. Thank you for applying for Manager UX Content Design position at Indeed. Unfortunately, Indeed has moved to the next step in their hiring process, and your application was not selected at this time. Here's another one. Thank you for applying to the Director Hire Client Experience position at Indeed. Unfortunately, Indeed has moved on to the next step of the hiring process. So, my friends, clearly I am now experiencing what it feels like to apply to jobs and get rejected. I am now slowly getting rejections back. I have applied to about 12 or maybe 12 or 14 jobs or so. I know it's over 10. And so I'm now starting to receive rejections for these positions. I'm not looking for high-level positions here. It's manager, director is kind of the highest. Manager, director level, software development, product development, IT, obviously, PMO type stuff, project management office type stuff. So apparently, I am not worthy. I am not good enough to work at these companies as a mid-tier manager. I will continue to apply and iterate and grow and learn and see if I can actually get an interview. I almost feel like it's not that I'm overqualified, but maybe that's a word that you could use. It's very egotistical for coming out of my mouth saying it like that, but I don't know. I know I'm laughing. I know people aren't taking this seriously. Like, people really need these jobs, but I want to learn, man. I want to learn what this is all about, and I don't know. I haven't done it, so super curious. All right, so after reviewing these rejections, I am thinking I need to go more standard resume style, meaning like with a summary, here's my 20 years of experience, and then literally spend time going through. It's so hard though, because I spent the last, I have been training Agile and Scrum nonstop ever since essentially 2005. So, yeah, 20 years I have been training, like nonstop. Like I'm training a class today, right? So I'm always training. Now, I'm not always coaching, but I do coach throughout the years. Now, I do coach throughout the year. This year, I'm coaching 6 teams, essentially, investments in these types of things in Agile and Scrum. So I have a very unique Agile and Scrum consulting and coaching approach because I'm investing in these startups, and then I'm helping them grow. I'm helping them as a tactical, even a tactical individual, a what do they call it? FTE, not an FTE. I mean, I don't know, what is this corporate language? A direct functional value contributor. I mean, individual level contributor, yes. So I invest in these companies, and then I help them using Agile and Scrum through training and certifying them, but then teaching them how to build software faster, product development, all of this stuff. But it's in the startup domain. And so I would have to go back and essentially say, hey, these are all the startups that I've invested in. Here's how I helped each of these teams in this time period. Here are the larger companies that I've helped, like corporate employees in corporate companies. And then about 2014, so that would have to be about 2014 to 2024, 10 years of just like lots of client engagement type stuff. And I'd probably have to reformat it to move away from, hey, I invested in these companies and then I'm helping them grow. I would have to just say, hey, I've been a coach of these, small companies or medium-sized companies. And then 2014 to 2004, that's when I did a lot more of my enterprise stuff, like big DoD, Department of Defense, big healthcare, right? Big companies, big telecommunications. So that's how I would have to format the resume. And then from 2004 back to 1999, that would just be straight up corporate experience as a slave. So it's going to probably take me a solid, probably like 8 hours of going through my mental drawers and having to go through I probably have to use Twitter and other social media mechanisms to be able to go back and have a correct accounting of all of the clients, all of the companies, and all of the individuals that I've helped. Because I think the more summarized approach that I have been using, which is it's a one pager. I mean, I'm not sending them 6 pages. I'm sending them 1 page. I don't think it's working out. But I don't, I just don't see 6-page, 8-page resumes being worthwhile. So anyway, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be spending 8 hours in this next weekend, essentially translating all of my 2 decades of experience plus into kind of a more traditional formatted resume is what I'm thinking. And then I'll start shooting that resume out and get rejected.